Ladies and gentlemen, the famous Miss Doris Day has gladly consented to sing a few songs for us tonight.
Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera.
You're right, that was a gunshot you heard. That was the signal that brought all the trouble out into the open. It's a scene from our new picture, The Man Who Knew Too Much. As you know, Alfred Hitchcock has an uncanny knack for coming up with the unusual in entertainment. Well, The Man Who Knew Too Much can certainly be put in that category. I play the part of an American doctor. Doris Day is my wife. And the story is about our trip abroad that started out as a holiday and ended up as a nightmare. And to film it, Hitchcock took us thousands of miles away from Hollywood to Marrakech, which is right in the center of the North African trouble area. And that was just the beginning. From there, we flew to London for backgrounds of a whole strange series of events that ended up that final night in the great concert hall, where the cue for murder was one single crash of the cymbals.
The Man Who Knew Too Much, 1956. Alfred Hitchcock's remake of his own 1934 film, a suspenseful thriller. Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, redefined the thriller genre with his knack for placing ordinary individuals in extraordinary circumstances. While celebrated for iconic protagonists like the urbane thief Cary Grant in To Catch a Thief, or the mentally unstable Norman Bates in Psycho, Hitchcock also excelled at capturing the quiet anxieties bubbling beneath the surface of seemingly idyllic lives. The Man Who Knew Too Much, starring James Stewart and Doris Day, is a compelling example of this, a film that blends exotic locale, political intrigue, and the visceral fear of parental desperation to create a gripping and emotionally resonant cinematic experience. More than just a thriller, it's a study of vulnerability, resilience, and the courage hidden within the ordinary. The Man Who Knew Too Much tells the story of Dr. Ben McKenna, James Stewart, his wife Jo, Doris Day, a famous singer, and their young son Hank, Christopher Olsen, who are enjoying a vacation in Marrakech, Morocco. Their seemingly normal holiday takes a terrifying turn when they become inadvertently entangled in a web of international espionage. A chance encounter with a mysterious Frenchman, Louis Bernard Daniel Gélin, leads to his sudden and dramatic assassination. Before dying, Bernard whispers to Ben a crucial piece of information: a top-secret assassination plot set to take place in London. This knowledge throws the McKenna family into a maelstrom of fear and uncertainty. The assassins, aware that Ben possesses this vital intelligence, kidnap Hank to ensure his silence. Plunged into a desperate search to recover their son, Ben and Jo embark on a perilous journey through the unfamiliar streets of Marrakech and the bustling heart of London, navigating a dangerous game of cat and mouse where one wrong move could cost them everything. The film is a remake of Hitchcock's own 1934 British film of the same name, though considerably expanded and reimagined. While the original focused primarily on the suspense of the situation, the 1956 version delves deeper into the psychological impact of the crisis on the McKenna family, particularly on Jo, whose past as a professional singer is juxtaposed with her present reality as a wife and mother struggling to cope with unimaginable trauma. The all-American dad thrust into danger. James Stewart, a familiar face in Hitchcock's filmography, Rear Window, Vertigo, embodies the role of Ben McKenna with a captivating blend of steadfastness and burgeoning panic. Stewart's strength lies in his ability to portray ordinary men facing extraordinary circumstances. Ben is not a spy, a policeman, or a seasoned adventurer. He's a doctor, a family man, a symbol of American normalcy. His initial reaction to Bernard's dying words is disbelief and confusion, a sentiment easily shared by the audience. As the situation escalates, Stewart masterfully portrays Ben's mounting anxiety and his desperate attempts to retain control while navigating a world he doesn't understand. He's a pragmatist forced into a situation demanding improvisation and courage. His love for his son fuels his determination, turning an ordinary vacationer into a relentless force. Stewart successfully portrays Ben's transformation from a man of routine to a man of action, all the while maintaining a believable vulnerability that humanizes the character. The burden of a singer's past, Doris Day, primarily known for her cheerful musicals and romantic comedies, delivers a surprisingly nuanced and powerful performance as Jo McKenna. Initially presented as the supportive wife, Jo gradually emerges as a complex character haunted by the echoes of her former life as a professional singer. Her past career is not simply a biographical detail. It becomes integral to her character arc. The kidnapping triggers a deep-seated vulnerability and a sense of helplessness. She is accustomed to the spotlight, to performance, but now finds herself thrust into a real-life drama where her skills seem useless. However, her musical background eventually proves to be invaluable. In one of the film's most iconic scenes, Jo strategically utilizes her vocal talent at a crucial moment in the Royal Albert Hall, distracting the assassin and potentially saving a life. This scene beautifully demonstrates how Jo's past, which may have initially seemed irrelevant to her present life, becomes her most powerful asset. Day's performance balances the fragility of a mother's fear with the steel of a woman who has learned to command attention and project power. She beautifully conveys the subtle nuances of a character grappling with her past while facing an unimaginably terrifying future. Themes of innocence and complicity. One of the central themes explored in The Man Who Knew Too Much is the concept of innocence and the loss thereof. The McKennas are initially presented as innocent tourists, oblivious to the dangerous undercurrents of the world beyond their comfortable suburban existence. Their naivety is shattered by their accidental involvement in the assassination plot, forcing them to confront the harsh realities of international intrigue and political violence. The film also subtly explores the theme of complicity. While the McKennas are ultimately victims of circumstance, they are also forced to make difficult choices that could have devastating consequences. Ben's decision to withhold information from the authorities, driven by his fear for Hank's safety, makes him an unwitting accomplice in the assassin's plan. The film questions the moral boundaries of protecting one's family and the potential consequences of silence in the face of injustice. Hitchcock's masterful use of suspense and spectacle. The Man Who Knew Too Much is a masterclass in suspense, showcasing Hitchcock's unparalleled ability to build tension through subtle visual cues, cleverly placed sound effects, and a deliberate pacing that keeps the audience on the edge of their seats. The assassination scene in the marketplace, the suspenseful build-up to the concert at the Royal Albert Hall, and the frantic search through the London Embassy are all meticulously crafted sequences that exemplify Hitchcock's mastery of the genre. Beyond the suspense, the film also boasts of visual grandeur, particularly in its depiction of Marrakech. The exotic locales, vibrant colors, and bustling streets create a vivid backdrop that heightens the sense of disorientation and vulnerability experienced by the McKennas. The contrast between the exotic setting and the familiarity of suburban life further emphasizes the McKennas' isolation and the jarring transition from their ordinary world to a dangerous and unfamiliar one. Hitchcock skillfully blends spectacle with intimacy, grounding the high-stakes suspense within the relatable emotional landscape of a family desperately trying to reunite. The power of music and silence. Music plays a crucial role in The Man Who Knew Too Much, both diegetically within the film's world and non-diegetically as part of the score. Doris Day's iconic rendition of Whatever Will Be becomes a recurring motif, representing both the McKennas' initial sense of optimism and their eventual acceptance of the uncertainty of their situation. The song, initially sung with carefree innocence, takes on a more poignant and haunting quality as the film progresses, reflecting the family's growing fear and anxiety. Conversely, the film also utilizes silence to great effect, amplifying the suspense and creating moments of intense psychological drama. The scene at the Royal Albert Hall, where Joe attempts to disrupt the assassination, is particularly striking for its use of silence, broken only by the swelling orchestra and the occasional sound of a suppressed cough or nervous breath. This interplay between music and silence highlights the emotional stakes and intensifies the audience's sense of anticipation, a timeless exploration of fear and resilience. The Man Who Knew Too Much continues to resonate with audiences today because it transcends the conventions of a typical thriller. It's a film about the vulnerability of the ordinary, the courage found in desperation, and the enduring power of family bonds. The McKennas, initially presented as a typical American family on vacation, are forced to confront the darkness lurking beneath the surface of the world, and in doing so, discover hidden reserves of strength and resilience. The film's themes of innocence, complicity, and the psychological impact of trauma remain relevant in a world increasingly marked by political instability and global uncertainty. The Man Who Knew Too Much is not just a thrilling suspense story. It's a poignant exploration of the human condition and the enduring capacity for hope and courage in the face of unimaginable adversity. It serves as a potent reminder that heroism often resides not in grand gestures or extraordinary feats, but in the quiet determination of ordinary people to protect those they love, even when faced with insurmountable odds. And it is this resonance, this ability to tap into universal anxieties and human emotions, that solidifies The Man Who Knew Too Much as a timeless masterpiece of suspense.